Does your chronic pain have anything to do with emotional intelligence? Well, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you what I'm learning about how suppressing our emotions can actually cause pain symptoms to get worse or create them in the first place. I'm also going to be discussing the RULER acronym that can actually help improve your emotional awareness. I'm Carolyn Zeff, and I'm an athletic therapist and osteopathic manual practitioner. I believe that by changing your story, you can change your pain. Now, life presents us with many situations that can trigger really big emotions in our body. And some of the strategies we use to avoid feeling them is suppressing and detaching both from ourselves and the world around us. We're using those as coping strategies. Who wouldn't want to, have to feel unpleasant emotions? But unfortunately, through years of repetitively suppressing and avoiding, we can effectively train our autonomic nervous system that feeling unpleasant feelings is actually a threat to our very safety. And this can lead our autonomic nervous system to have to find another way of expressing the unpleasant emotion in our body to get our attention. So for some, it might be in the form of anxiety or depression, or the felt physical pain sensation in our body. So emotional intelligence actually is a new concept to many people. And I found that the RULER acronym from Mark Brackett's book, Permission to Feel, is a great place to start to raise our awareness of our emotional perception. So I'm going to break down the acronym here. The R in the RULER acronym stands for recognizing emotions both in ourselves and in others. The first step in emotional intelligence is emotional awareness. So when we're noticing our mood has changed, this is actually a great time to pause and tune into what our inner experience is like at that moment. Now, being new to recognizing what we're feeling can be hard to really determine what we're feeling. So just figure out if you're feeling something pleasant or unpleasant. And then if you want to go take it a step further, rate it if it's to a light, moderate, or high degree that you're feeling that. As you become more aware of your emotional state, you're actually going to also be able to recognize emotional states in other people. Now, the U in the RULER acronym stands for understanding the causes and consequences of emotions. So discovering why a pleasant or unpleasant emotion was triggered by a certain person, activity, or situation is actually quite helpful in piecing it all together. And then through learned experiences, we can see what the aftermath is if we act on our emotions without pausing to contemplate their impacts on our lives and other people's lives. Now, the L in the acronym is for labeling emotions accurately. And by labeling our emotions, it can actually pinpoint down what we're feeling. So for example, you could start with the 6 basic ones. Are you feeling happy, sad, angry, fearful, surprised, disgusted? And this can actually help communicate our needs to others and has an actual calming effect on our autonomic nervous system. Through continuous practice, we can actually expand out our emotional vocabulary even more as we start using, instead of disgusted, maybe you're grossed out. Now, the E is for expressing emotions. And emotions actually have a beginning, middle, and end like a wave, and they usually last about 90 seconds from the time the biochemical wave is triggered in our body to the time that it ends. And the role of our emotions is for protection, connection, and creativity. And I'm really curious here, just take a minute here to think, have you ever stopped when you're feeling an emotion, kind of stop to feel how it expresses through your body? For me, I'm just going to give an example out here. It's either a humming, like if I'm scared, it's a humming sensation I feel in my solar plexus. Or when I get angry, I actually feel a lot of heat in my cheeks or pressure in my head. Or if I'm sad, I can feel a lot of tension around my throat. So it's interesting as you start practice observing your emotions, see if you can start to link particular emotional states with certain sensations you feel in your body. As we start to increase our capacity to tolerate unpleasant feelings, we're also going to become less reactive to acting out on them. Now, in the past, if you've lashed out at someone at work, you might be able to then express your feeling in a more suitable response. Now, the last R in the RULER acronym stands for regulating emotions effectively. By learning how to regulate our emotions effectively, we can actually decrease the cues of danger to our autonomic nervous system. So if the autonomic nervous system is perceiving an unpleasant emotion as a threat, our body's actually going to respond by going into either a primitive hyperarousal fight-flight sympathetic reaction or a hypo-dorsal vagal freeze state to protect us from harm. And unfortunately, this can cause an increase in our pain sensation. If the autonomic nervous system remains stuck in a chronic state of either hyper or hypoarousal, this can actually be a sign of an overwhelmed system, whether it be due to trauma or stress overload. The pain sensation is going to persist in our body for weeks, months, or years until the autonomic nervous system achieves a parasympathetic state of calmness. So, actually, I'm really curious. The next time you're feeling an unpleasant emotion, I really would love you to explore it using the RULER acronym and then comment on it. Underneath this video, just comment what your experience was. And I'd just like to hear some feedback. Now, if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, or share it with a friend.